Hello, I'm Gavin. Welcome to Hero LFG. It feels weird saying that because I've been over on my other channel. I'll plug that if you're interested in Jesus. That one is called Right in Christ. RIGHTINCHRIST. So there's my plug. And the Hero LFG channel is more focused on technology. And it's that time of year where we pay our taxes. And I wonder if this act of paying taxes in the United States is if it causes people to. I wonder what it causes in people, because within me, I do not like paying taxes because the government spends my money in ways I disagree with. And then you have this time of year where there is an election for president, and so you have a lot of noise, and all the noise shapes people's conversations, and then those conversations make their way to me despite my ignoring mainstream media. I hear about politics, and I've come to the conclusion that voting, especially voting for president, is a waste of my time. And I want to be able to record my thoughts, my views, my identity, and I want to be able to spend the money. I want my money to be spent in ways I agree with. And I think we can do it. That's why I'm on this channel. And the idea is the digital representative, because I've been practicing inviting people to tell me about the city you want to live in. So when people complain, instead of telling people to go out and vote, which seems like the worst idea, is to tell people basically go away and go vote. I instead want to invite people to say, come here and tell me about the city you want. Because then when I hear someone complain about the speed laws and the cops who are enforcing it, I'm like, well, if we were to build a city, how would you do it? And if I hear someone complain about the speed humps on the roads, I'd say, well, how would you do it? And so every time someone has a criticism or a complaint about whatever, I would say, let's build a city. If we were to build a city, how would you do it? And it invites people into a new way of thinking and relating to the world in which we take responsibility. Because once you start asking that question, you can then attempt to find the way of being in which you become the change you want to see. And so in this practice of writing and journaling about how I would spend my money, I eventually come to the conclusion that it's like the digital representative is good, because democracy is not good. There's got to be something better than democracy. Democracy, I'm not a fan of it. And it's because people in a democracy, will make decisions I disagree with. Like every single decision that the democracy makes will be a decision I disagree with. And so instead of democracy, what I want is the digital representative, in which we all are invited to tell a story about the city we want to live in, the country we want to live in, the village we want to live in, the home we want to live in, and the role we want to play in this game of life, like we can play in this game. And then all of that can be captured into a digital representative. It's using something like the large language models, the artificial intelligence, alongside the stories about who you are and what you want, your views and your identity, and then taking that agent and letting it loose into the wild such that it's connected to all of the information. It's able to filter out the noise, identify the signals, and then your digital representative can come to you and say, these are the three most important things that happen today. And whenever there are people in government or in other places, wherever, who are making decisions, your digital representative could actually interface with them. So instead of my going to the city council, my digital representative could show up at the city council. Or instead of me going to the state government, my digital representative could attend and wait in line in order to speak on my behalf. And instead of going to the White House and try to speak to the president or any of my representatives, my digital representative could do it for me. And not only that, but my digital representative could be doing it simultaneously with everyone. Like every single person whose job it is to serve me and spend my money wisely could interface with my digital representative on my behalf. And all those interactions which are most relevant, there would be this filtering and signal processing such that I get the information, the human gets the information, so there's a checks and balance on my digital representative. Everyone who interacts with my digital representative could end up providing feedback on how they thought my digital representative performed, and then I would be able to take that feedback and maybe address it as the human, the ultimate person behind the digital representative. And so in this way, you end up with a more representative government. And if you look at history, that's really what people have been aiming for, is representation, and we're still missing it. I'm not represented by my government. None of the governments represent me, because none of the governments are doing it the way I want to do it. None of the governments are spending the money the way I want to spend the money. And the governments aren't actually interested in things like digital representatives. And so why am I talking about it? I'm talking about it because on both of my channels, on this channel and the other one, I'm practicing telling a story, and I'm practicing encouraging others to tell a story. We can tell a story about the vision of where we want to be, the destination. And maybe we can all come to some kind of consensus about where we want to be eventually. And then we can attempt to tell a story about how we get there, the path to get there. And maybe there will be many people, not everyone, who likes that path. And those will be like your village, your family. Obviously the ones in your home, are your spouse is going to need to have, there needs to be some kind of consensus about the path to get to the destination. But then as you expand that group from home with spouse out to like the village, there would need to be a consensus there as well, like with regard to what kind of clothes should you be wearing and what kind of tests should be administered, examinations, qualifications. Answers to these questions can be recorded on behalf of every individual, such that the digital representatives of each of us could end up organizing and finding each other. And so my claim is just that we need these digital representatives. We have the opportunity to do government with a kind of representation that we've never seen before, where we aren't asking these imperfect humans to go represent us. We actually can allow a digital representative to go represent us. And my claim would be that I could create a digital representative to represent me better than any of the representatives who are elected. And so I'm not a fan of voting in this election system we have. I do have ideas about how to make it better. I have ideas about how to make everything better. And I hope you do too. And maybe everyone with different ideas about their own identity and their worldview could have a digital representative that go out and play with each other. And I think what we'd find is that some of us will not get along with each other, and it would be good if we were segregated. And then there will be some of us who are able to be a mediator between those of us who can't get along, and that perhaps each of us can aim to find the group that we are a part of and identify the group we're not a part of, and identify the groups we're able to be mediators between. And I mean, my hope is that we could all find our groups we're a part of, find the groups we're not a part of, and find the groups for which we would be good mediators, and that we could all do that. That there's no person on earth, this is the humility, there's no person, my suspicion is there is no person on earth who will be capable of being a part of every group. And there will be no person on earth who will be capable of being a mediator between every group. I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's a good stance. It's a good, humble stance that we can take. So, and that's just me recording my thoughts, which could be collected as a part of an instance of a digital representative in the future. And I've been doing this for over a decade. I recorded over an hour of content yesterday, and it's all private or unlisted. And so I would encourage you to do things like that. You don't whenever, if you don't like YouTube, for example, go record lots of video and save it to YouTube and then keep it private or unlisted. Now, that's going to cost money. They aren't making advertisement money on that, but there's a chance that they will use it to train their models, and there's a chance that we could end up, once they build a model that is their God, that they will worship, perhaps that model will then be able to look at the private and unlisted conversations of people like myself and be able to create digital agents, digital representatives, which represent each of us. And then that their God may then begin to figure things out. Maybe their God will begin to see things the way that I see. Maybe. And if not, it's worth a shot. It's worth a shot. I think it's good for us. This process of journaling, this process of thinking about the city we want to live in and the home we want to live in and the nation we want to live in, and thinking about how we want our money to be spent, and thinking about ways of acting and practicing and habits that we can develop, that we can integrate into our way of being at every moment. This is all good. This is way better than saying, go out and vote. One's an invitation into an intimate way of life, and one is an exile. When you tell people to go out and vote, you are basically saying, get away from me. Not only that, but you're also shoving them through a door, right? You're pushing them. You're pushing them away through a door. You're saying, go away, and not only that, but you're being a bit forceful about it. Instead, you could say, I invite you to participate in the creation of a better world, to take on responsibility instead of giving authority to others to create the world for you.